Hello guys, this is Zyberpinky and friends, and today Kotaru is joining me for this interesting topic, which is the second part of the recommended and not recommended next gen and last gen games.
Yo.
Very well. So we're going to start where we left off last time. We ended with some Far Cry, some good shooter games, and what else would we recommend or not
And
recommend?
which category? The same one? The same genre? The same
Yeah,
gender?
yeah,
Shooting?
yeah. Let's go with shooting first, and then we just jump off for some other genres.
Okay. If we're talking about shooting, okay, from last gens. In the last gens I have at the like these two very very ones that I have really a lot in my heart, which basically are the ones that basically opened me to the shooting to the first person shooting world, which basically are at the first one is Halo, which
Oh
is
yes.
yeah, fantastic franchise. Yeah, its lore is really weird. Some people don't get it, but it's actually good. And yeah, the mechanics were weird, has always been weird, but if you give it a try, you really it's a really good game. And basically because the fact is that actually most of the people, the reason why Halo is not that much loved is because one is a Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
The second reason is basically because, well, basically everybody has already touched Call of Duty, which is
Yeah.
the other one that I recommend, but it's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Because for me, Modern Warfare 3 was the best of the Modern Warfares, which is weird because I always thought that they were all good, but when I really realized and I started looking at my experience with each one, my best experience was with the
Third
one
one.
over 3. And yeah,
Yeah, like
that's basically, yeah, the two best I had in my last gen's experience were Halo but basically in Halo was Halo 3, because was the one that had this multiplayer that it was so beautiful that everybody was like so pumped with that one.
was that the one that you could create maps, or was the
Yeah,
ODST one?
yeah, no. In 3 they started the Forge,
Oh,
which
nice.
is which is like this program that was inside the game, which basically you can create your own place, like this stage, and you just make whatever you want it. And
Nice,
people
nice.
got creative with it. Some people made racing levels, and people were like, "Well, but that's not the point." But people got creative with that, and it was cool, and it was awesome, it was beautiful.
Not as
And
far as Mario Maker.
yeah, people are getting creative in that. But the problem in Mario Maker is that they're getting creative, but in a really bad way, because they're making these levels that are super hard.
Mm-hmm.
And people are getting frustrated about it. But still, they still rate them awesome, and they still give them credit for them. And I'm like, but what's the point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You mentioned Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah.
It is also my best experience other than Black Ops 1, because that was a horrible experience.
Mhm.
Horrible experience as multiplayer. Multiplayer
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, Black Ops was not as good as Modern Warfare 2 or either the previous Call of Duties. Um, for me, Modern Warfare 3, they were the multiplayer as split screen, multi split screen, like four player split screen,
Yeah.
online split screen that you can also play with your friends, which that was a cool feature that they add after Black Ops. I don't think they did that in Black Ops 2. Modern Warfare 2. They didn't have split screen online, but they did have a split screen offline, and that's what I really liked about the third installment for the Call of Duty Modern Warfare franchise. And um, for me, it's if you like shooter, if you're into shooter, and have been experiencing bad shooters lately, because there's a lot of shooters out there other than Call of Duty, of course. There's
Mm-hmm.
also Killzone. There's also Crisis. There's
Mm-hmm.
also um, the Halo that you've mentioned. There's also Gears of War. That's a third-person shooter. There's a whole universe that you guys can pick, and
Mm-hmm.
not be so frustrated with one cycle of franchise that it's been repeating itself years, and years. Just like Call of Duty, we also have this problem that is like it's a copy and paste of the previous Call of Duties, because right now Call of Duty is being developed by different companies, and
Yeah.
people been like, oh man, but this is not as the same as this one. People get like pretty
Yeah. Yeah.
disappointed because it doesn't it's not the same uh so it's not the same, like um they add these jetpacks, they add more weapons, new weapons, futuristic weapons, and it's hard for the old Call of Duty fans to actually make this like I can't digest this, because I want this to be like Modern Warfare 2, and it can't be like that. Modern Warfare 2 was back in the day was like the only uh, Modern Warfare. Each Modern Warfare is different, even though it's like a sequence for the story, but it has a different in the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience with other Call of Duties, other than Modern Warfare, there's also Black Ops 1, 2, and I have the third one for the previous gen. And
Yep.
my favorite one is the second one. I have not fully experienced the third one because I have it from the for the PlayStation 3, and I'm not experiencing it very well, of course, because it's from the
Yeah.
previous gen.
Yeah.
So uh, so Black Ops 2, the the most important of Black Ops is zombies. People like
Mm-hmm.
killing zombies. It's a cool engine. It's a cool thing to play with your friends. It's one of the coolest co-op out there. Um, it's just fun, and it's fully recommendable for those who like co-op games and like playing with their friends online, even local, because you can also play 4 player local with your friends.
Yep.
So, Kotaro, so what has been your greatest experiences with Call of Duty Black Ops, other than multiplayer and zombies?
Which Black Ops are we talking about?
Um, Maybe Black Ops 2 or 3, maybe one, any.
Well, I played them all because uh, I'm a fanboy when it comes to Black Ops because I don't know, just love the story. Their stories are really cool. They're messed up.
Yeah, they're pretty. That's what I like about it.
That's what's okay because Call of Duty always had the formula that was like shoot the terrorist, shoot the
Yeah, like
terrorist,
the
shoot
American
the
always
terrorist.
wins.
Yeah, America, fuck yeah, something like that. But it was always that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it came Black Ops 1. Everybody was like, oh, it's a Black Ops, which means you're gonna see these super soldiers that go under the table and do stuff, and they're gonna kill terrorists. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost the same, but difference is it has this dark part that nobody actually people a little bit of people kind of get it because the number one Black Ops starts like you're in the time with just one main character, finally a main character, because Call of Duty has this thing that you never have a main character. It's always
This,
like Julie from the Specnavs or
yeah,
Pierce from another Spetsnaz, but he's in another place, and or Raf, I think that was his name, that he was the American one, and it's like different people. It's never
mm-hmm.
like the main character, but Black Ops came with David Mason, and you see the story of David Mason, all the things he had to went through, all the interrogation he had to went through, the numbers, all that stuff, the thing that put him kind of crazy because
Yes,
in the end he was crazy.
yeah, big time.
Yeah, Black Ops 2 came with this awesome idea in the campaign that any decision you take in the game, it's gonna change your ending. It
Mm-hmm.
changes your ending. It
Mm-hmm.
has like four possible endings, and basically the all the endings. Okay, there's three endings. They are disgusting and bad. And there's one ending that is awesome, and it's really hard to get it. I got it. I don't even know how, but I got it. I don't know which decision triggered it. All I know is that I did one decision that actually triggered that one, and I saw that ending, and I was like, "Wow, that's awesome."
Yes,
And
and
yeah,
continue.
okay. Well, my experience in multiplayer it were awesome, and I gotta say, I had the blessing that before the year almost ended, I got my next gen console. So I've been playing next gen games, and I had the blessing that the Play 4 that I bought was the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 bundle, which means I got Black Ops 3, and which means I can play the campaign
Yes,
because that was one of the issues with the last gen, that you can't play campaign.
exactly.
And it's understandable because the engine they're using is very powerful if you
Yeah,
use it in a Play 3.
yeah, it's totally
And
out. Yeah, the bit rate will go deep shit, and it's not gonna work.
uh-huh. And it yeah, and it has been said, and they even said it Treyarch, because that's the thing. Call of Duty is divided by three companies that make the Call of Duty games, which
Mm-hmm.
is at the Infinity Ward,
Yes,
at the Sledgehammer, and Treyarch, which is the one I love always because they're the
yeah,
Black Ops.
yes,
And basically the story is so messed up, and if you think about it, because this is the thing with Black Ops 3. It's a story that when you look at it and you start looking at it, you realize that it can possibly happen. Because
mm-hmm.
the story in Black Ops 3 is basically that there's a program called the Cyber Soldier, and
Exactly.
basically they get soldiers that they become MIA, mission in action, or MIK, which is killed in action,
Yeah.
and they basically turn them in this cyber soldier, half robot, half human, and they have this called thing, the DNI, which is like this cyber thing that connects you with a I computer. And basically all the cyber soldiers are connected, which in a way you can talk to the other one and you're like from another distance, like you're basically you're like in this Empire State and the other one's like in the other side of Manhattan, and you're like, "What's up, bro?" And you talk to him and he's like, "Hey, bro, what up?" And you got like this conversation inside your mind, and you're talking to each other like they're like you're both in front of you, from in front of each other, and it's like wow, and it's awesome. But then the story keeps progressing, and there's an AI that becomes crazy and starts controlling everything that's electronic and starts making everything a chaos.
Wow.
And it's and you look at it, and it's basically weird because the point was to create a system that could control something about the cyber soldier program, but in the process it had a glitch, and the glitch became the AI that is trying to destroy everything.
Hmm.
And when you're starting to look at the story, you realize that could possibly happen in real life because they try to make the soldiers more technologically and whatever, and it could possibly happen. And you're like, oh, and you get to the point that you start thinking about it, and you start like, wow, this is kind of deep.
Yeah, like it could really happen in real life.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, this is freaking. If you obviously put your mind to it, you realize it. But
Yes.
basically, almost all us gamers, we don't give a shit. We just want to pass the story.
Yeah, and there's a good fact for shooter games today that they've been lacking on story, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of Battlefield. Uh,
Yeah.
the only
Please let's not talk about Battlefield 4.
I need to, man. I
Oh, come
need
on.
to because it's it's what it is. It's what we've experienced. Even though, well, let me start with Battlefield 3, which is the first one that I played from the franchise because I haven't played Bad Company 1 and 2 or Battlefield, etc. My first Battlefield was Battlefield 3. This was back then in 2012 or 13 maybe. It was the most fun experience online, and I prefer this better than Hardline and Battlefield 4 combined because you can, wow, it's, you have a lot of liberty
Hmm.
for weapons, choosing your the map that you really want to go in. Uh, it, the vehicles, wow, like mostly everything. Even I played it today, and the graphics still fantastic. I don't mind the graphics, but I see Battlefield 3 and I'm like, wow, these people put hard work on this. Then I never finished the story. I never finished the campaign because other games just came out in the way, and I just couldn't finish it.
Which campaign didn't finish?
Battlefield 3. Now I'm
Okay.
going to go to Battlefield 4,
Yeah.
and this extremely threw me out of the campaign. And as the fact that Call of Duty has a decent campaign that is not of that of cliche, because a lot of shooters have a lot of cliche, and that really drops me bad.
Mhm.
And Battlefield 4 is like, what the actual f? It totally dropped me off. I won't tell anything because I barely remember where I actually dropped off. It's just like
Oh, I do,
it
I
was
do
so
remember.
unreal because I know it's a video game. But if you guys try to make these kinds of video games oh so realistic with such a cool engine, with such a cool realistic guns, with awesome graphics, and you
Mhm.
throw me this shit that these soldiers are like, come on, this is freaking Halo or what? I mean, it's the only I can like see that it's unrealistic. It's Halo because it's sci-fi. It's sci-fi.
Mhm.
It's space battle.
Yeah.
It's from another planet. It's not real. You're
Yeah.
battling aliens. But in Battlefield 4 or Battlefield franchise, it's a guy versus a guy. It's a soldier versus a soldier. And man, and not talk about the multiplayer on Battlefield 4. It's tedious,
Mm.
uh, almost buggy. Uh,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's it's a disaster.
Yeah,
Even
that's
though
so.
they fixed a lot of stuff by patching it a lot of times,
Yeah.
but it still have flaws.
Well, in Black Ops, Black Ops Minute, um, Battlefield 4. I still remember a lot of the campaign. I really was mad at it the whole way, cause number one, it's racist as fuck.
It is, and I've been. This is
The
some.
ending was the most racist thing you can ever feel in the world.
You got
It
that
was
right.
racist as fuck because, okay, the whole game you're fighting the Koreans.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, oh, please, this was frustrating every time. You know that every time you knife in Battlefield, you knife them and you see the person in the face, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like
And then you throw
assassination.
it. Yeah, assassination. My God. I was expecting different expressions every time I kill a person, but it was always the same one.
Yes.
They were serious all the way. It was like
With no
it was it
expression.
was it was like they accepted death like nothing else. I was like, come on, man. This is a war. You don't expect to have you don't want you're not like going to war saying, okay, I'm gonna die.
That is
You're
some
saying
that's a
you're
big
saying I
detail.
wanna live through
Yes,
this.
that is some big detail that they like throw up. Like, oh, let's just do the same facial expression, and
I love the animation that every time you knife
ah,
them,
yeah, that's
you
super
took their
cool.
dog tag. I love it. I love that because it was like, I'll take your dog tag, man, and it was like that was cool. But my God, at least give me an expression.
Exactly. Now I'm going to go to Battlefield Hardline, and I know
Uh,
all of you that you guys are hearing us. Please don't fanboy. I'm going to say what it is. All right.
sucks.
I play. Ah, yes. It it throws. Wow. It the story was
But
short.
it's not okay. Okay, I know I'm gonna sound a little bit defensive on this, but it's not fault of the game. It's fault of the company.
Itself.
Cause yeah, cause okay, Dice has been making us always has how can you say this? Um, get put us used to the fact that they are the Battlefield creators,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
means war, 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 war. But basically, the way people play Battlefield in multiplayer is always like shoot and run, or go to a tank and blow up everybody,
Yes.
or go to a helicopter, or go to a jet and start shooting everything. But if they shoot you down, you just throw the plane at them and you just try to get survive. But basically, Heartline was like this thing that they wanted to do a new type of idea, which
Mm-hmm.
basically is cops versus thieves and that stuff.
Yeah, cops and
And
robbers.
the idea was awesome. It was there. The problem was the players. They still played it like it was Battlefield.
It's not our
It's
fault, and it's kind of contradicting because
it,
they try to mix Battlefield 4 and 3 with Battlefield Hardline cops and robbers,
yeah,
and that's where the problem started. You started making conquest with huge ass maps. Like, how the hell is this even so real that cops will go to a certain A, B, or C to conquer a place? Is that even what in the actual world were they thinking? Like, this is cops and robbers. This is supposed to be a cops thing. It's supposed to be a police chasing.
How? What? Why couldn't they just do a mode like Payday? Have you ever played Payday?
That's a good example.
Yeah, that's a good example about
Yes.
cops versus robbers, and they didn't do that. They just did. Let's just put our battlefield modes in a game that basically is cops versus robbers. But I don't want to think that much, so I'm gonna put the same modes in the other games and shoot yourself.
There were some modes that were
Yeah,
like the hostages ones that you have to save the
VIP.
hostages.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. That was great. That was right on the point. That was right of that hardline thing. But
Yeah.
it the rest is like, man, it's it's like another Battlefield game. I didn't felt like it was actually. It felt like a war zone. It felt like, yeah, it felt like Killzone, other like Crisis. You just go around and shoot.
Hmm.
The other kind of matches like Team Deathmatch, like Team Deathmatch is good, but no one plays Team Deathmatch like really hardcore Team Deathmatch on Battlefield. They play Conquest or play what's this other one that is like the the bomb one? I can't remember right now. It
Um,
was like deactivating some bomb or something. Oh, Rush. That was
Rush. Yeah.
yeah, the Rush one. Yeah, and they could have created more, cops and robbers thing.
I
Like this.
kind of, from that game, one of the modes I kind of like was yeah the VIP one, and the other one was Blood Money,
Mhm. Mhm.
cause cause it was like okay, it was this idea basically that the both teams are shooting each other. Nobody's a cop, everybody's a criminal in that one.
Yeah, exactly. It just
That's all.
doesn't make
You're
sense.
like these two gangs and you're killing each other, but at the same time, one of the you send some of your group to go in a place where there's a bunch of money. You rub the money and you try to take it to your van, and you're in this like this constant war. Everybody's shooting each other at the same time. You're trying to get the money. The kills don't count. The kills don't count. What it counts is the money you take,
Mhm.
which it was a good mode. I actually liked that one because it was frustrating in a point, but
But
it was good.
it was
It was
challenging.
different.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm not saying this, if you haven't buy any Battlefield games. My suggestion is to look gameplays or rent it before you buy. These are kind of like a year old games, 3 year old games. This is nothing new. Every year it repeats itself. It all depends on the multiplayer and the campaign and the features of. And this is where it gets bad. Battlefield 3 did have co-op. Battlefield 4 and Hardline did not have co-op.
Oh no, they didn't
And I'm like
because
waiting for the co-op. Like, how can a cops and robbers had no co-op? Like, man, like they wasted.
they want you to be the badass cop in the world.
Wow, it's
The same.
it's not. They're making the same mistake in Battlefront, and they're trying to put Star Wars with a little bit of Battlefield 4 and 3, and it's like this war zone that you go on this war, and there's little maps and versus huge maps because there's
Hmm.
not a that's not a lot of maps, but they're huge, they're big, and but it all depends on if it's the mode, the mode of the
Hmm.
multiplayer, the match, and and again, if you like shooters, if you like you know other type like Battlefield, I suggest you look for gameplays. Alright, before you buy. This is before you buy, and be kind of disappointed. You know, better look at reviews before you buy it. It works, even though
Mhm.
other people's opinions is their opinion, but they also state some real facts of the game, and those real facts of the game cannot be ignored. And people actually like, oh, that's his opinion. I'm gonna still buy it. And when they buy it, like, this is shit, and they start
It's like
complaining.
okay, it's like the fact I always give when people are like, at the Kotaru, do I buy the Black Ops 3 in last gen? I'm like, don't do it. People are like, but why? I'm like, okay. I get the point that it's not, but it doesn't have the campaign. It doesn't have nightmare mode, which is
Mm-hmm.
something that you unlock once you finish campaign, which is basically that campaign again, but this time you have zombies on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I at the beginning when I heard that I was like, okay, what's this? But when you play it, it's like it's awesome. I thought it was dumb at the beginning because I was like, why would I want to kill zombies in a story which I already played?
Yes.
But it basically changes the story a little bit. I don't want to spoil it because Nightmare is something like that you unlock. So basically, I'm not gonna say anything. People has to look at it
Mm-hmm.
themselves. But and the fact that you have that in next gen, they give you the free run, which is basically you trying to beat your time and stuff like that, doing parkour and stuff. It's kind of fun, and people don't know that, but it's kind of fun actually. It's fun to break a time, and then you're like, if you have friends in home, you can play the free run, and you're like, oh, I beat this at this time. Try to beat me, and they're like everybody trying to beat it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and uh reasons why I love Call of Duty Black Ops 3. One of the reasons it's the multiplayer. The multiplayer they change it completely in a way. So awesome. They create the system of the specialist,
In a good way.
which yeah, it's good way. It has good things. It changed what Call of Duty was known for, basically. And it changed it more and it made it more attractive. It has the wall running, which people say, oh, they copied it from Titanfall, which is another good game in shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's different because wall run in Titanfall, I'm telling you because I played it,
Mm-hmm.
feels different that the wall run in Black Ops 3. It feels different. People say, how it does feel different? It's the same thing. You're running a wall, but
Yeah.
it's different. It's different. I can say it's different because Titanfall, you run it in different parts, but in Black Ops 3, you can do the most shitty at cheapest moves ever. I'm like, I can go outside the map and run by the wall outside the map.
Mm-hmm.
People can't do that in Titanfall. Titanfall is like this border that you can't pass from it. But in Black Ops 3, you literally can go that way and run in the wall like that.
Yeah, it's like
And
they took the idea and make it better.
yeah, and the same goes with the specialist powers. Some of the specialist powers people say they are taken from Destiny. The gravity spikes, because the gravity spikes looks a lot. Let's be honest, looks a lot with the fist of Havocs from the Titan, and the Annihilator from the Seraph looks a lot like it has the same mechanics of Golden Gun.
Mm-hmm.
I know they look the same, but they're totally different
Indeed.
because the Golden Gun, I'm gonna be honest with you people. The Golden Gun supposed to kill one people in one shot. It depends because sometimes it doesn't kill one people in one shot. It doesn't. Because sometimes if your level is lower than the other player, sometimes you just let them in the red if you didn't know that in
Mm.
Destiny. And but the Annihilator does kill in Black Ops 3. It does kill one
Mhm. Mhm.
shot. It does it. And you can even see it in the animation when they kills the people because you shoot. It doesn't matter how far you are. That gun, you shoot, and the person goes flying away. Doesn't
Right.
matter
Mhm. Mhm.
because the Annihilator is like a Magnum gun, but more powerful than a Magnum gun. And the Fist of Havoc, which people are saying that is the Fist of Havoc. Yeah, the gravity spikes looks like the Fist of Havoc, but it
Yes.
has more range. It has more range
Indeed.
because
Yeah.
I tested a lot because I used the ruin a lot at the beginning of my multiplayer experience,
Nice.
and I was and I it has a lot of range in that attack. But then what people are not looking at is they have two specials. They have the weapon special, which is basically a weapon. It's always a weapon, and the I can call it the physical special because it has something to do with physical.
Yeah.
Like the ruin has the gravity spikes, which is the weapon one, and the overdrive, which basically turns you like this splash, basically, and like that. And I had this so much fun with the Reaper, which basically is the robot. I had this so much fun with the psychosis. You can even see it in one of the gameplays that I have put that Cyberpunk has put in the channel. You can even see the fun I had one part when I throw the psychosis, which is basically like these three clones that he throws,
Yeah.
and you can see how the guy got so frustrated. He was looking the clones as the clones were going away, and he didn't literally didn't see that I was just standing behind him, looking at him, and he didn't notice that. He didn't notice. He just got so frustrated because he saw the three clones coming at him, and he was like so frustrated shooting at them that he just keep looking at them. The clones keep running away, and I was like right behind him looking at him, and I'm like, wow, the guy was dumbass. God knows. And I just shoot him down, and then he realized I was there. And I'm like, it was fun. The psychosis is so much fun. You use the psychosis, the pulse vision is so much fun. And you can see people through walls and everything.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
yeah, the war machine from the battery is like so OP.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Uh, there's a lot of the specials that which are awesome. Right now, if there's a high level player, you can see you're basically always gonna see them with the fire break. Always, you're gonna see them with the fire break with the pacifier. Jesus Christ, that flamethrower is so OP. Takes out people so fast.
It does, and people actually really get really pissed off about people using it
Yeah,
because it's just an insta kill. You have no chance to just aim and shoot. You'll get burned fast.
the people get mad at it, but I'm like, because the people who use the pacifier is basically because they don't know how to use the Ceres Annihilator.
Oh yeah.
I have a friend that actually does told me that. He told me I use the pacifier because I don't know how to use the annihilator. Because if I do how to use the annihilator, I was using the annihilator all the way. Because the annihilator is awesome. And I'm like, yeah, it's awesome, but it's it's like since it's a gun, it's like this gun that just throws one shot and she quickly goes to reload again. It's like you gotta
Nice.
think. It's so well what you when you're gonna shoot with that thing.
So
The
Kotaru,
guns feel awesome. So
nice. So
that's it.
Kotaru, what would you suggest to the viewers right now if if they have not experienced any shooter, which it's pretty rare that anyone has, experience any shooter, what would you suggest them? Any the Call of Duties that we've mentioned so far.
Oh. If you're a last gen, I can say Black Ops 2 is a good
Indeed.
shooter. Modern Warfare 3, it's another one good. From the Battlefield 3.
Yeah, Battlefield. Indeed.
If you are a guy that loves the co-op and you basically don't give a shit if the story is cool or awesome, even though the story is awesome,
hmm
Borderlands.
Oh yes.
It's a great co-op shooter.
Oh
Wow.
yes.
I forgot to even say it's an awesome shooter.
Yeah. So we totally forgot about that good game.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if you play Borderlands, okay, people are like, the first time I heard about Borderlands, I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
especially the fact when they told me the company 2K did it, I was
Yeah.
like, 2K?
2K.
They don't do sports games
Yes,
because
exactly.
people are used to they doing sport games that when you hear Borderlands is from 2K, you're like, uh-huh, I'm not playing that shit. You should play that. You should, because
hmm
I was the first. I was one of them that didn't never want to play it
Me neither.
because
I
I
was one of
was
them.
like, first of all, it looks like cartoonish. I don't like
Mm.
it because I like them to look realistic. I was one of those dumb guys. It was like, oh, I like them to look realistic. I don't like them when they look like
Totally.
cartoonish. Right
Yes.
now, after playing it, I'm like, oh my god, I want them to look cartoonish.
It's like, man, I was stupid.
That was if you don't want to play it, you're dumb because you have to. It's a good game.
And
And
there's a lot of missions that you can do with your friends.
you can do quest, main
Yes.
quest, you can do side quest, you can do DLC. And the DLC is worth it.
Oh yes. This is the one of the shortest. I mean, not shortest. One of the most rare shooter games that wow. It is
It's
worth it because versus the other shooting games, forget about it.
the it's it's a long campaign. It's a long campaign, people.
True.
Something that you don't see in a shooter game.
No,
It's right
it's
there.
exactly. It's like
You can
most like eight
and
hours.
you're not pressured to go fast because the problem with shooter games sometimes is that the campaign kind of rushes you in it
Yeah.
because the campaign's like, you gotta shoot him now. We're almost there. But you gotta take the bad guy now. He's about to escape. Go, 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 go.
And the most important before you continue, the most important thing about shooter games and their campaign is giving love to the characters that you're using, the characters that actually talk and have the personality that totally identifies with you. And the fact is that a lot of shooters today, you you don't even care about the characters. You just go play the game and pass the campaign and that's it. There's no
Hmm.
there's no here talk like voiceover like this inner inner problem with the character or the past of this character. We don't get that much, and
Yeah.
Borderlands do have that, does
Yeah.
have that. So continue.
Hmm. It's basically a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And Borderlands, it was like people think that it's not awesome, but once you play it, it's awesome. The character has their own unique. They're all unique. Even their melee is different.
Yes,
Their melee is different,
it's not
and you don't
copy and
see that.
paste.
Yeah, you don't see that in every game.
Yeah.
Even the way they walk is different,
Yes.
which is weird because you don't see that in every shooter. You always see the same mechanics almost all the time, but Borderlands doesn't. Borderlands took their time of making characters differently,
Totally.
which which is one of the reasons why people are still waiting Borderlands 3. I'm,
Oh yeah, so we're totally waiting for that for the next
I'm still
gen.
waiting it. I'm really, yeah, I'm waiting it. I'm even planning on buying the Hanson collection
Oh
for
yeah.
next gen because the Hanson collection brought something that it's awesome. You can play a split screen,
Oh yeah, that's another
and
feature. Yeah.
I'm crazy to buying the Hanson collection because I'm gonna be like, hey bros, come on, let's go home and play a little bit of Borderlands all together.
Exactly the point. So
And
it
it's
has multiplayer, it has co-op, it has
hmm?
local co-op,
Yeah.
and also local multiplayer. And it's
Hmm.
wow, it's fully recommendable. This is like the most almost perfect shooter game out there for last gen, because
Hmm.
I know like no other game is perfect, because Borderlands also has its flaws, but not as much as other shooters.
Yeah.
So it's fully recommendable. The other one from 2K that I almost forgot was Spec Ops: The Line. This is a third-person shooter, and all right. So I left off with 2K Spec Ops: The Line, right?
Yeah.
All right, Spec Ops: The Line is a third-person shooter game,
Hmm.
and this is one of the wow. This is one of the those shooters that the American actually mess things up. This is like no other shooter that the American is the hero, the American is always right, the American is this and that, the Americans are the good guys. No, this breaks uh, what other shooters are, you know, implanting to gamers, because it's, I mean, I love Americans, I like America, but you know, America has effed up a lot of times in history. So
Hmm.
video games do not tell always the truth. So Spec Ops: The Line is one of those games that, man, he did effed up, because the story, that was the main thing, that the story cast me like, man, he totally messed up his team. He totally messed up the crew, and I'm like, wow, this is basically what I'm looking for. This is what I've always been waiting for. I don't always look that the American is the bad guy, but let's be real. I mean, this is the most realistic third-person shooter that I've seen. That um that it's from a line um that the campaign develops how things go to a point to another, and you actually see and identify yourself with this character, because the character also, you can, like, wow, this guy, man, I really pity this guy, man, this guy needs help, you know, things like that, things that it doesn't throw me away to play the campaign. I mean, the multiplayer is good, but um the offline, the actual story is, it is very important. And
Hmm.
you and me, Kotaru, we're old gamers, and we used to play without multiplayer. I mean, without online. But
Hmm.
let's be like sixth gen or fifth gen, like PlayStation One, PlayStation Two, etc.
Yeah.
We didn't have that back in the day. We used to focus on playing the campaign, playing the story. But if that didn't catch us up, what did we do with the game? We just like, man, I'm just trying to pass it, but I actually don't care about the game anymore. But back in the
Hmm.
days, that didn't quite happen a lot because they focused on the actual story. They focused on
Yeah.
right today. It's like okay, so if the campaign sucks, so I just go to multiplayer, and developers are trying to go further towards that excuse because we know we screwed up in the campaign, but people always like the multiplayer. And that is one of the greatest and baddest thing for developers and gamers today that keep on saying that multiplayer is like the thing now. I
Hmm.
mean, the multiplayer is good. You can play with your friends online, you can play with your friends locally, but other than that, if the servers go offline, what are you gonna do? You're going to play the campaign. But if the game does not have a campaign, or either the game does have a campaign, but it's a bad campaign with a bad story, and you don't want to play it because it's shit. The characters are not doing anything. The characters, you can't not even identify yourself with them. You cannot interact. You can't do nothing. You just
Hmm.
like playing it like it's just another. This is just another shooter shitty campaign that I'm playing right now, and it's a problem. It's a problem, and Spec Ops: The Line and basically Borderlands are the most recommendable for me. I recommend them to you, viewers. If you like any shooters, this is both are from 2K, and 2K is not like a real hardcore for shooter games, but these two they made the difference. And other than those hardcore franchise from hardcore companies that make shooter games, 2K is making the difference. Even though they only have like Spec Ops: The Line is pretty old, but they have their franchise. But there's Borderlands. Um, 2K maybe they have lots of developers there that actually do like the campaign and you know uh, get more to the characters, to develop the characters better than what we see every single year, because that's another thing. Like a new Battlefield just will come out, another Call of Duty will come out. Yeah, but it's like the same old routine. It's like shoot, run, shoot,
Yeah.
run. It's not cool anymore. It's getting
They're rushing.
tedious. Yes, yes.
It's rushing. It's not. There's not a pace. It's always rush, rush, go, go, go. Not like Borderlands, which Borderlands is like we have a main mission, but you have like side quests over here. You can do them.
And it's not like shooting all the time. You have to think for some stuff there.
Yeah.
You just can't run or run
Mm.
over and then start shooting. No, you have to think. The your bullets will run out. You're gonna be out of ammo in some certain point.
Yeah.
Um,
And
the
if you're
the
not close to a store, you're fucked.
yes, you're very and you're gonna die a lot.
Hmm. And if you don't have bullets, you can't use the second win system.
So
So.
the point is that each shooter uh, is different. If you're looking forward for Borderlands being as equal as Call of Duty, then change your mind. Look,
Hmm.
it's not like Call of Duty. It's not like Battlefield.
Borderlands goes in another gender. It's a shooter, but
RPG with
it's a
RPG
RPG,
elements. Yes.
which basically that makes me talk about an which is multiplayer and it has a co-op.
Mm-hmm.
And other shooters there's other shooters which are RPGs too. Like for example, the Fallout series are good games,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
which are RPG, and it's a big world, a big world. And in Fallout, it doesn't give you the rush thing. You can take your time,
Yes.
literally can take your time. Even so, there's people that finish a Fallout game like in 2 months. Like,
Yeah.
it's time. It takes time to finish a Fallout game. It takes time to finish a Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
It There are games that take time, and people are so focused in the
Mm-hmm.
rush, rush shooter that you forget that there's other shooters out there which doesn't have to rush. You can take your time. You can wait. You can take your time and like Fallout, you create this character, and with this character you create him, and you take your time to make this character.
Yes.
You make your time to make his skills awesome. You take your time to become a badass.
Exactly.
Borderlands, you're already a badass, but you become
Oh
more
yeah.
badass.
Yes. You level up, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things that uh that gamers I want to level, I want to get stronger, I want to develop this character, I want to keep on. That's the thing, you know, when games aren't that scripted and stricted like Call of Duty and Battlefield, that they are very scripted and they just have to stay with the script and can't do anything else. It's like so linear that you can't do anything, that it's so scripted that it barely can do anything, because Borderlands, it has a script, but you don't have to follow it, as it's like an open world, it's an RPG, it's not as scripted as other type of shooter games. Now what we're trying to tell you guys is that um, we're not being subjective here, we're being more like open minded, because these are there's a lot of shooters out there, and from our experience, we've been playing lots of games. We play more than just 50 games, more than shooter, more than RPG, more than fighting games. We played tons of games,
Even
and
horror games.
oh yes, horror games. I have played one, and man, and don't want to mention it. um, there's there's just a thing, for you viewers right now. Um, so there's there's this thing that gamers should say to the developers, and it actually has been helping the gaming community, that we have to speak out. We have to, like, okay, this game didn't work, and YouTube is a free speech liberty, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Um,
a good
so
example. There's a good example about it. Good example of games that people say, and people are start saying, this game sucks for this reason, this reason, this reason.
mhm.
And the game actually, the community, the people, the company decides to fix it. One example is Destiny, because year one of Destiny had the worst campaign ever. The worst campaign ever.
Mhm.
It was disgusting. I I finished the campaign and I was like, okay, that's it. You didn't even feel that it ended. You feel like
An incomplete game.
yeah, there was not a lot of scenes that your character talked. They promised a lot of times that your character was gonna talk, and you didn't talk that
No.
much. And I was like, my character's gonna talk when? Oh, he talked with the queen. Yay, that's it. I'm like, you were like waiting for in the beginning of the game. You were waiting this awesome line that he's gonna say, and the only line he says in the beginning of the game is like, "Is that ship gonna work?" And I'm like, "That's all."
That's the only line. from the script.
But in the beginning, that's the only line you say in the
Yeah.
beginning. Oh my god, it's like you go through all this crap, shooting fawns, running away from them because you don't have this much weapons. You grab a
Yeah.
weapon that is basically shit. You shoot all these people and you go to the ship that you it's gonna take you home, and the only thing you're gonna say is, "Does that thing work?" You can't say, oh my God, let's hurry. We gotta get out. We gotta get out or something like that. No.
They
Does
got
that
so
thing
lazy.
work?
That
I
hit.
was waiting more,
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
waiting more. And people started criticizing it. People said that Peter Dinklage didn't do a good job as a ghost. He didn't do a good job as a ghost. It was like, oh, the Fallen.
Exactly.
I was like, where's the emotion?
Yes.
And it was like, and people people criticize him. They brought something. They changed him. They changed the ghost and they changed the boys. And the person who started doing it was better at it. That Peter Dinklage. And sorry, Peter Dinklage, I'm a fan of you, but still, it was better. and
Indeed.
and people were started saying, "Oh my God, there were not too many short the cutscenes," and people were like, "We want cutscenes. We want cutscenes of the game. We want people." There were people in the game that they were supposed to be important, but they didn't feel important. Like the
Important.
Bangars,
Yes.
they
Yes.
didn't feel important. They were like there, and you didn't feel like they were your mentors. You didn't feel like they had authority at all. But then it came Taken King, and they put characters like the Hunter mentor, like a very important character, and you started to see the how they act and how they talk, and it was cool. And we
Mm-hmm.
were like, it's his better campaign. And I hope they keep doing that because they said that Destiny's gonna take a little more, like one more year. I think they're gonna keep with Destiny, and then it's coming Destiny 2. I hope that they keep this rhythm because right now Destiny doesn't have nothing. They've been telling me that Destiny is dead,
Like right
but
now. Yeah.
yeah, because they're not throwing anything. They're just like, oh, it's Crimson Day, another way to say Valentine's Day, but it's Crimson Day. We just put a new mode in multiplayer. That's all.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, that's it. That's all you did. And if they're gonna do a game like that, you gotta hear the community because the community is important. If you're gonna
Exactly.
do a MMO shooter, because it's an MMO shooter, and almost doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
whatever they say,
Yes.
it's an MMO shooter.
Yes.
And there's other games. They're like trying to do this now. They're starting to do MMO shooters nowadays, and they
Mm-hmm.
should think about that thing. That community is important. Community, what the community says is important. So
Exactly.
our word, our what we say here is important because there's companies that are actually listening to what people say. And
Exactly.
believe me, don't stay shut. Don't shut up. If you know that a game sucks, say it. The game sucks.
Yeah, and don't try to defend it either.
Yeah,
Even
I
though
I
it.
I'm a Destiny fan. Peter knows that.
Mm-hmm. Shikaru.
I think Abiel knows it because I was like famming out every time they talked about Destiny. I was famming out like a boy, and even Christian knew about it because I sent things to Shinja a
Yeah.
lot of times. Like, check out this game. You gotta see the trailer. I was like that. I was a fanboy. I was hyped so exaggerated for the game. But
We
then
all
I saw
did.
then I played the game and I was completely destroyed.
Exactly.
Uh,
And to finish this podcast, there's a really good fact about telling the community, the gaming community, the gaming company, the developers that it's our money. It's our
hmm
money, and it's our money we're spending. It's our money that we're giving it to the company, the developers, and we deserve the full experience. If we want to recommend you good games, it needs to be good. It needs to have less flaws,
Hmm.
okay, and more of the good, because if a game has such a lot of incompletions, a lot of bugs, a lot of glitches, it's something that's unrecommendable, and and Kotaro and I are very careful right now. This is a podcast of we concentrated more on the shooter part, but there's other games and there's yeah, there's other consoles
We
too.
haven't got yet to my favorite part, which is the RPGs. When we get to the RPGs,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna destroy
we
it.
could we could do that in the next podcast.
Well, this is it. I hope you liked it and you listened to everything we said. We got good points. We gave everything we had in our points. My name is Kotaru. This is Cyberpunk, and subscribe to the channel. Give a like. Leave a comment, because if we let a shooter that you think it's awesome and you should tell me, then put it in the comments or anything you want, and I'll check it, because I'm that type. You put a game, I'll check it, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you guys later.